Neither of us are black bears. So why did you give birth to a black bear? Spit it out. Have you been fooling around with other female bears behind my back? HMPH, you're the one who popped the cub out. You've got some nerve asking me about this completely backwards nonsense. My dad was so furious, he spun my mom like a top for 3 days and 3 nights, and bounced the neighbor seal like a basketball for 7 days and 7 nights. Finally, he actually decided I was an invasive species. He yelled, "All right then. You sneaked around with a bear all the way in Siberia. Tell me right now, which mountain does that little lump of coal belong to? I'm going to wipe him out right now." In a fit of rage, he ran away from home and swam toward Siberia. To settle the score with the black bears over there, I figured my dad's cross-Arctic revenge tour would take at least half a year of swimming. Who would have thought, just as I was preparing to rely on the greatness of motherly love to lay low and grow up safely, a massive white mountain of meat appeared on the ice, strutting over like he owned the place. Good grief, my absurd dad actually pulled a U-turn and came back. It was the middle of spring when everything comes back to life. For an adult male polar bear, there are only 2 things on his mind this season: eating and mating, and to force a nursing mother bear back into heat. They usually choose to wipe out the cub right in front of them. You damn little lump of coal. You made me the laughingstock of the whole village. I'm sending you to your next life today. My dad's massive limbs spun out on the ice. Then he clawed fiercely at the surface, kicking up a cloud of snow, and charged at me with bloodshot eyes. I thought my Arctic crossing tour was going to wrap up early. But at the critical moment, my own mom made her move. She let out a roar, twisted her massive body in mid-air, and shielded me in her arms. I only heard a heavy, muffled crash. My mom let out a painful groan, and like a giant curling stone taking a massive hit, she slid dozens of feet across the slick ice, forcefully plowing a deep trench right through the snow. Even so, she stayed hunched over, keeping me wedged tightly in her belly fur. On an ice ridge not far away, a few Arctic foxes were poking their heads out. The lead fox licked its paws, its narrow eyes full of pure gloating. I understood that bastard's mocking look. He was saying, "Boys, that charcoal-grilled looking freak is dead meat. Get ready to feast." Right then, my mom forced herself to stand up, her 4 legs shaking like crazy from the pain. But she still growled fiercely at my dad, ready to take the brute force of a second ramming. "You deadbeat, you just try touching him. Even if he looks like a lump of coal, he's still my son. If you want to kill him, you'll have to step over my dead body first." This won't work. If they keep fighting to the death like this, my mom is going to get torn apart. Don't you dare hurt my mom. Come back here. Come back. Hurry up and come back. I was planning to dodge around and draw my dad's aggro. But expectations are beautiful, and reality is a harsh slap in the face. Whoops, my foot slipped. I slid out across the ice, literally breaking with my face in the most embarrassing way possible. But it seemed God wasn't ready to take out this little oddball just yet. I slid all the way down into a low-lying ice pit. What is this stuff? A rancid, fishy stench shot straight up my nose. Turns out, I had plunged headfirst into a pile of fermented seal fat. Just when I was about to puke up my breakfast, light bulb suddenly went off in my head. I've got it. I've got a plan. Fighting back the churning in my stomach, I rolled around in that reeking pile of blubber. My dad was just about to attack mom again, when he suddenly twitched his nose. That walnut-sized brain of his clearly picked up a new signal. A highly pungent, walking seal meat takeout. He turned his massive head. "Uh-oh, I'm busted." "Don't panic, I still have one last trick." I stopped rolling, grabbed a huge chunk of fat, and started frantically kneading it with my tiny little paws. In a flash, I rolled up a highly concentrated, eye-watering stink bomb. Take this. Thanks to the muscle memory from my human soul, I stood up on my hind legs, raised the snowball right over my head, aimed right at that fox leader who was enjoying the show, twisted my waist, and hurled it. Smack, right on the nose. The fox leader was seeing stars. Letting out a terrified shriek, covered head to toe in the stench of seal, it turned tail and bolted down the ice cliff. My distraction plan totally worked. My dad was lowering his head for a second charge, but the second he caught a whiff of that heavy seal odor, his massive body slammed on the brakes. All 4 paws scrambled wildly on the ice, plowing deep grooves into the frost. He froze like someone hit the pause button. He reared up on his hind legs, his huge nose sniffing frantically left and right. His tiny eyes lit up, and his mouth broke into a huge grin. Drool just started pouring out. Hunger had officially beaten out his mating instincts. Any thought of chasing after his mate vanished right into thin air. That mouth-watering, aged meat aroma. Oh yeah, that's that premium vintage seal smell. I'm gonna go stuff my face first. I'll deal with you two later. My dad whipped around and sprinted right after that poor, unlucky fox, flinging glistening globs of spit everywhere. Phew, we actually survived. Baby, are you okay? Mom, I'm okay. Oh, my sweet boy. How did you get so smelly? But in the end, a mother's love triumphed over her sense of smell. She gently grabbed me by the scruff, not daring to waste a single second, and bolted wildly in the exact opposite direction. Hurry, we have to get as far away from that crazy bear as possible. I'm so dizzy. Hold on tight, Mom. If we can just make it into the blizzard, we'll be safe. By the time Mom finally stopped behind a windbreak of ice, she was wheezing like a broken bellows. Gasping heavily for air, we were finally, temporarily, safe. From giving birth during hibernation all the way up to now, it had been months since she'd eaten any solid food. And after fighting to protect me back there, taking that massive hit, man, even if she was a bear made of solid iron, her stamina had to be totally tapped out, and I was left completely dizzy and shaken up. The second I sat down, my stomach started roaring in protest. Hang in there, we just have to hold on. A flash of heartache crossed my mom's exhausted eyes. She dragged her heavy paws over to the permafrost, and started digging like a living backhoe. Chunks of ice and dirt went flying everywhere. Found it, finally, something to fill our bellies. My mom's eyes completely lit up. Her huge body couldn't stop shaking from hunger and total exhaustion. But she still did something that completely broke my heart. Up, my sweet boy. You need a full tummy to have the strength to keep running. But God didn't give us a single second for tender moments. The moment I swallowed the very last bite, oh no, he followed the scent back to us. Clearly, that Arctic fox reeking of seal only bought us less than 30 minutes. The shame of being fooled, mixed with his mating season rage, made my dad completely lose his mind. His eyes were bloodshot and bulging like brass bells. We are so dead, he's furious this time. Without a word, my mom grabbed me in her jaws and bolted. We didn't stop until we backed into a dead end at a massive ice cliff. At the base, there was a tiny, narrow rock crevice. My mom shoved me deep into the very back of the crevice, then turned around, using her broad back to completely block the entrance. My dad closed in on the base of the cliff, baring his razor-sharp fangs and letting out a deafening roar. If he charged at us like this, my mom would absolutely be smashed to pieces alive. I have to climb up. I absolutely can't let him catch me. Even if I fall to my death, I won't die in his jaws. Hold on tight, I just have to hold on tight. Looking up at the massive, precarious ice cap, my eyes suddenly lit up. If I just break that tiny, inconspicuous wedge of ice, the ice cap, weighing several tons, will instantly lose its balance. My dear old dad, I'm so sorry about today. Let me show you what they mean by knowledge changes your fate. I stuck out my little black claws and dug frantically, ice shards flying everywhere. Adrenaline was surging wildly. Right at the exact second my dad was about to slam his paw onto my mom's back, I used every single ounce of my strength to smash my head hard against that loosened wedge of ice. Once the pivot point snaps, it's all over. Hearing the strange cracking sound, my dad suddenly froze, staring blankly up at the ceiling. Several tons of massive ice blocks and packed snow poured down the cliff face like the sky itself was falling, smashing right onto my dad's head, instantly burying the giant beast alive, leaving only half of his twitching bare butt sticking out. The crisis was completely over. The falling ice shifted the terrain, shaking open an even deeper passage. The avalanche actually smashed open a path to survival. This is our one and only chance to escape. My mom's eyes lit up. She snatched me up and plunged headfirst into the pitch-black rock crevice. This crevice was like a giant intestine leading straight to the core of the earth. So dark, tight, and insanely rough. I have no idea how long we crawled, until a strong blast of aged sea salt hit our faces. I poked my little black head out, and gasped in absolute shock. Oh my goodness, this is just spectacular. It was actually a prehistoric sperm whale skeleton. The massive ribs locked together into a natural bone cage. Relying on her pure instinct to dodge danger, my mom dragged me right into the densest part of the chest cavity. But the moment we finally caught our breath, the booming sound of boulders and ice blocks being violently shoved aside echoed from the cave entrance. "Stop hiding, I'm going to rip you to pieces." His massive, tank-like body couldn't fit deep inside, and that's when I witnessed the true, terrifying power of my dad. Accompanied by a sickening crack, a fossilized rib even thicker than my thigh. Can't believe they actually snapped. He was like a cold, emotionless hydraulic shear, using his twisted brute force, snapping them one after another. The whale ribs that were blocking his way. "Keep hiding. Go on, keep hiding. Let's see how long this pile of rotten bones can protect you and your mother." The space I had to survive in was being squeezed down, inch by inch. "Get the hell away. Hand over the cub. I will never take a single step back." In the dim light, my mom let out a furious roar, suddenly spinning around and using her broad back to firmly block the entrance formed by the few remaining ribs. My dad's massive head shoved right up to us. A terrifying thrust of several hundred kilograms, pressed down hard on my mom's back, right through those freezing bones. Every single time my dad shoved forward, it made her tremble violently. Heavy, thick clouds of white breath spilled from the corners of her mouth. But she clenched her jaw tight, her four limbs gripping the frozen dirt as if they had taken root. Without yielding even a single millimeter. Where the hell is there a weak spot? My eyes frantically scanned the inside of the giant whale skeleton. Basic physics tells me that the hardest part of a fossil is the spine, especially the neural canal protecting the central nervous system. But right then, with two sharp cracks, the last two whale ribs gave way and snapped. The defense line shielding my mom completely collapsed. Her massive body was flipped over and smashed hard against the rock wall. In the end, we just couldn't hold him off. My dad's enormous head forced its way into this tiny space. In the pitch dark, his bloodshot eyes locked dead onto me, cowering in the corner. Well then, it's my turn to risk it all. He opened his gaping, bloodthirsty maw and lunged straight at me. "You little bastard, go to hell and find your real dad." At that moment, time seemed to stretch on forever. Just as those fangs were about to snap shut, I made a crazy, bold move. I didn't try to shrink back, but instead, I dropped my body hard to the ground, like a slippery black loach, following the freezing touch of the polar rock, and using my absolute size advantage. I slid right into the giant whale spine next to me. Huh? Where is he? Where did my giant black lump of a son go? Thank God my reflexes are fast, otherwise I'd be canned bear meat by now. Where the hell did you hide? Get your ass out here. Don't think I can't find you just because you crawled into a hole. Yeah, as if you could. This hole is strictly for someone my size. My dad's fatal strike, that was meant to crush my skull, completely missed. He bit down rock hard onto that prehistoric sperm whale spine fossil. Right after that, half of an old tooth flew right out of his massive mouth, striking sparks against the rock wall. You just wait, when I drag you out of there, I'll tear you to absolute shreds. Hey, you can't blame me for that. You're the one who bit down too hard. The polar tyrant who was throwing his weight around just a second ago is now clutching his mouth, backing up like crazy. His miserable shriek is still echoing deep in the rocky crevices. You damn dead black cub. Meanwhile, I had already followed the hollowed canal of the giant whale's spine, sliding all the way down. I plunged into the deepest depths of the skeleton, with a heavy, muffled splash. I crashed into a closed-off pool of freezing water. This was a meltwater pit formed by geothermal heat in summer. Temperatures rising, biting cold water instantly rushed over me, making my whole body freeze up completely. Soaking in this extreme icy water, my body heat was dropping at a terrifying speed. In just a few minutes, I would pass out completely. But I couldn't care less about that right now. Come out, get the hell out of there. Right above my head, that furious white grim reaper was stomping frantically on the massive bones. Under the water, I clenched my jaw tight, forcing myself to hold my breath. Please don't find me. I absolutely cannot let him find me. The freezing temperature of the Arctic water perfectly masked my body heat, and the trapped icy water acted like a thick insulating barrier, completely sealing off the strong scent. Mixed with seal scraps on my body. That's weird. How did his scent completely disappear? Did he fall into the water and drown? No, that's impossible. Even if he drowned, his body would have floated up by now. From underwater, I could faintly hear that massive head right above me, pressing right up against the hole I just fell through. He was twitching his nose frantically, letting out heavy, deep sniffs. Suddenly, all the movement above me stopped. Even though I couldn't see him, I could perfectly picture that giant beast's utterly confused expression right now. In his simple mind, this was probably an impossible mystery. A little lump reeking of seal meat. That even chipped half of his tooth, this little black rock. Just vanishing out of thin air like that. This ain't right, this is way off. Could that little lump of black coal really not be my own cub? Is he some kind of monster? How else could he just vanish into thin air? You're the monster. This is called being smart. After trying to dig into the hole a few times with his massive claws, and confirming that there really was nothing there, that tyrant finally fell into a deep sense of frustration. He let out a depressed, low rumble, only when I was absolutely sure that there was no more movement above me. Did I carefully poke my nose out of the water, greedily gulping down freezing, but free air. The immediate danger was temporarily gone, but I was instantly faced with an even more realistic problem. How'd I survive now? My mom just got thrown over, and I don't even know if she's alive or dead, and if I crawl back up there empty-handed, I'm gonna be torn to shreds sooner or later anyway. Catching a glimpse of the faint light filtering through the ice layer above. That tiny trace of light, my eyes locked onto the massive bone wall right next to me. This was the deepest bone marrow chamber of the sperm whale. The bones were complex and tangled. Never mind an adult polar bear. Even a slightly chubby seal couldn't squeeze in here. There has to be something to eat in here, right? Sperm whale marrow is great stuff. After millions of years, it must have turned into waxy whale blubber. As long as I can find that, my mom and I can survive this. Shivering violently, I pulled myself out of the icy pool, fighting through the numbness in my limbs, and started feeling around deep inside the cracks of those ancient bones. The experience from my past life kept me holding onto a shred of sanity. Deep inside a hidden groove of the spine, my front paws brushed against a massive chunk of something weird. It wasn't solid rock, and it definitely wasn't ice. It actually felt slick and greasy. My heart skipped a beat. Found it. This is it. Thank God. A chunk this huge is enough to feed us for days. Now I've got some leverage. Just watch how I tame that old tyrant. Using all four of my paws, I used every ounce of my strength to pry out a slab right from the crevices of the bone. It was a piece of waxy whale blubber, as big as half a tree stump. God, it's heavy, but totally worth it, even though this stuff smells absolutely awful. It is packed with calories. My old man must be starving right now. His eyes are gonna light up when he sees this. I leaned in, took a sniff, and muttered to myself. This stuff reeks of age and staleness. But it's loaded with rich fat. For any starving beast out here, it's a temptation they simply cannot resist. Using my head, I pushed the heavy slab of blubber, struggling to climb back up the way I came. The moment I poked my head out, I got a clear look at the situation. That terrifying tyrant hadn't left, but he wasn't on a rampage anymore either. Instead, he was sprawled out right outside the tunnel, slumped over like a collapsed snowbank. Just as I thought, he's completely wiped out. Between the long trek and his crazy destructive tantrum earlier, his stamina is completely gone. Damn it, I'm dead tired. Where the hell did that little sootball run off to? Snapped a damn tooth, got all worked up, and didn't even catch a thing. The months of relentless traveling, combined with his frantic smashing and the agonizing pain of a cracked tooth, had finally drained his already dwindling stamina down to absolute zero. His massive limbs were twitching uncontrollably, his chest heaving heavily. It looked like he didn't even have the strength left to lift his head and look at me. And in a corner not too far from him, my mom was sprawled out, completely weak. Her chest was still rising and falling, but she was absolutely exhausted to her core. Looking at my dad collapsed on the ground, a wild thought popped into my head. I thought to myself, out here on this desolate tundra, raw power has always been the absolute law. But no matter how ferocious the predator, once they're too starved to even stand, food becomes the ultimate bargaining chip to tame them. I gritted my teeth and began nudging that massive chunk of whale blubber. Inch by inch, right under his nose. The giant beast, whose eyes were barely open, snapped them wide awake. His nostrils flared wildly. His pupils dilated instantly. It was the pure, primal reaction of a predator, craving food that could save its life. He lifted his heavy eyelids, stared at the fat right beneath his nose, and then looked up at me, standing right behind it. It's you little sootball. You're actually still alive? Yeah, I'm alive. This is for me? Yeah, why? Because I don't want to die, and I don't want my mom to die either. I plopped down on the freezing rock surface, calmly locking eyes with him. I thought to myself, rather than fighting a mindless beast to the death, it's better to make him an offer he can't refuse. If he wants to eat and stay alive, he needs to put away those pointless predatory instincts. I could clearly see the struggle in his eyes, but hunger quickly crushed his hesitation. What do you want? Simple. You protect me and my mom. I'll find you food. I can get my hands on a ton of grub that you can't reach. Like this. Can you really find more? Of course, as long as you listen to me. Listen to you? I'm the damn king of the Arctic. Even the king of the Arctic has to eat, doesn't he? Eating this little black freak in front of him would be a lot of work, and probably break his teeth. It'd be a one-time meal at best, but keeping it alive, it could magically pull life-saving chunks of fat out of tiny crevices he could never reach. The giant beast let out a low whimper, stripped of all its hostility. Instead, it submissively rolled out its barbed tongue, sweeping that piece of aged whale blubber into its mouth and chewing hungrily. So good. So, what about my terms? Do we have a deal? Fine, you've got a deal. As long as you keep the food coming, I'll keep you and your mom safe. As the rich, heavy fat hit his stomach, his muscles, cramping from starvation, finally began to relax. After finishing the meal, this apex predator, who wanted me dead just a second ago, now slowly turned his massive body around. He left his broad back facing me and my mom, with his huge head facing the exit of the crevice. He firmly laid down, like a devoted and loyal guard. Don't worry, with me around, nobody's getting in here. That's more like it. Son, are you okay? Mom, I'm fine. Just relax. Thank heavens. Oh, thank heavens. His posture sent a very clear message. From now on, nobody messes with the food supply behind him. I let out a long, heavy sigh and collapsed completely onto the ice. I felt like every bone in my body was falling apart. I couldn't help but marvel to myself. Who would have thought that in this life or death gamble, using just a scavenged piece of aged whale blubber, I managed to tame the Arctic's fiercest predator into a free bodyguard for me and my mom. This brief truce brought a deep silence over the dark, narrow crevice. Nothing but the howling blizzard outside, and the giant beast's heavy snoring. We're finally safe, but I know this is only temporary. We need to get out of here as soon as possible. Let's just sleep for a bit first. I was so exhausted, I have no idea how long I slept. A slight rustling beside me startled me awake. Mom was up. She struggled to push herself up from the freezing rocks. Her previously dim eyes scanned the darkness with high alert. When her gaze moved past me and landed on that massive white back blocking the cave entrance, her muscles instantly tensed up, and a dangerous, low growl rumbled in her throat. I quickly shuffled over and rubbed my head against her chin. To calm her down, Mom, don't be angry, it's okay. To prove that we were safe right now, I stood right in front of her and dug out another small piece of shattered, waxy whale blubber from the corner. I slowly rolled it toward the entrance. Hearing the noise, the overlord guarding the cave immediately turned around. His eyes, which used to be so full of murderous rage, now didn't have a single trace of killer instinct. Instead, they showed an eager, almost begging look. More food? It's for you. Oh, awesome. Thanks, buddy. Wait, what in the world is going on here? I made a deal with him using the food. He protects us, and I find him things to eat. He carefully rolled that chunk of ancient fat onto his tongue, and loudly smacked his lips as he chewed. After finishing, still craving more, he licked his lips, turned right back around, and obediently went back to guarding the door. My mom was completely stunned. She looked at the giant beast at the entrance, and then back at me, a flash of utter disbelief in her eyes. She secretly wondered in shock, how could this giant beast be guarding the cave so peacefully? Usually, a mother bear has to fight a male bear to the death just to protect her cub. But this majestic, terrifying overlord right in front of us was actually tamed by just a few pieces of whale blubber dug out from a crack in the ground. Just like that, he was completely pacified. This is completely unbelievable. He actually listens to you? Because he needs me right now. Out here on this ice field, whoever has the food makes the rules. My son is so smart. I originally thought my mom would stay on high alert until we found a chance to escape, but I clearly underestimated her. Once she confirmed that the giant beast had actually turned into a guard who only cared about food and not about killing bears, my mom's eyes changed. All that miserable exhaustion from running for our lives was wiped clean, replaced by a sharp, calculating gleam. She was starving, and I needed real nutrition, too. I figured in my head. Those few pieces of millions of years old waxy whale fat were only a temporary fix. They could never sustain us in the long run. We definitely had to find some fresh food. Son, we need to find some fresh meat to eat. I want to as well. But it's way too dangerous out there. With him around, what is there to be afraid of? Wait, you mean? Exactly, let's make him do the hunting. My mom stood up and shook the ice chunks off her fur. She completely ignored that massive figure blocking the den. She walked straight out. That giant beast just cracked an eye open, glanced at her, and seeing she didn't have any food on her. Where are you going? Out hunting. Oh, well, be careful out there. This old geezer really knows how to throw his weight around. Just you wait, you'll have your paws full in a minute. He lazily shut his eyes again. In his mind, as long as I stick around, his meal ticket isn't going anywhere. I peeked over the edge of the rocky crevice, so curious to see what would happen. Bathed in the endless midnight sun, my mom hadn't gone far at all. She sneaked along the edge of the glacier, creeping toward a massive ice floe in the distance. Resting right there was a lone, sub-adult walrus. Even for a teenager, this guy was absolutely gigantic. With its thick, leathery hide, even the sharpest claws would struggle to tear through it. And don't even get me started on those two lethal tusks. Normally, in her weakened state, my mom would never dare mess with such a tough customer. But today was different. Suddenly, Mom leapt out from behind an ice ridge, deliberately smashing a huge chunk of ice and making an absolute racket. Startled, the walrus immediately reared its head in a fit of rage, thrashing its tusks and roaring, "Who dares wake me up? It's me, catch me if you can, big guy. You suicidal furball, I'll tear you to pieces." And then, she did something that absolutely blew my mind. She let out a pathetic shriek, turned on her heels, and started scrambling away, limping and stumbling wildly right back toward our hiding spot. Somebody help me, holy crap. Her acting was way too good. The Oscars owe her a golden trophy. Think you can run? Not so fast. At first, the walrus just wanted to put on a show of force to scare her off. But seeing how pathetically weak its enemy was, its killer instincts kicked into overdrive. Its massive, heavy body lurched aggressively across the ice, waving those deadly tusks and chasing relentlessly right on her tail. Here they come, the show is about to begin. What is that noise? Why is it so loud? Dad, we're in trouble. Mom is being chased by a walrus. I watched as my mom dragged that walking mountain of meat right up to the edge of the crevice. My snoozing dad was jolted awake by the deafening commotion. He groggily blinked his eyes open and let out a low grunt. What on earth is all that racket out there? Then, he immediately spotted his mate, being ruthlessly hunted down by a death wish walrus. And that massive beast was charging straight toward his precious, long-term meal ticket. My dad let out a furious, blood-curdling roar, "Don't you dare come near my family." Where did this other polar bear come from? What, you dare touch what's mine? And my long-term meal ticket? You reckless walrus? You're asking for it. Anger ignited at this very moment. The fury of this Arctic overlord exploded into a raging roar that shook the ice field. Take my punch. Oh. You got this, honey. Go get him, Dad. Take him down. He didn't hesitate for a single second. Like a white cannonball shot from a barrel, he slammed right into that massive walrus. The collision of these two mountains of flesh had no fancy tricks to it. Just the purest, most brutal crushing power, accompanied by a heavy, muffled crash. The walrus's charging momentum was stopped dead in its tracks. How do you like that? Now you know who's the boss around here. Just you wait. I'm not gonna let you off the hook. Still talking tough, huh? Take another slap. The walrus let out a painful wail, trying to fight back with its long tusks. Enduring the intense pain, the walrus hissed fiercely, "I'll take you down with me." But the giant beast didn't give it a chance at all. Using his sheer size advantage, he lunged forward fiercely. The massive pushing force crushed the walrus right through the ice beneath its feet. The fragile edge of the ice shattered instantly. That unlucky walrus, along with countless ice shards, was brutally shoved into the bottomless ice hole, never to climb back up again. Soon after, a mist slowly spread across the ice. On a distant hillside, the Arctic fox leader, the one whose nose I had hit earlier with a smelly snowball, was peeking out and watching with a few of his buddies. He witnessed this bizarre hunt with his own eyes. Oh my goodness, boss, what just happened? Did you see that? That once invincible polar bear god of war actually became a free hired muscle. Are you serious? Absolutely true. All because that little black cub gave him a few chunks of fat. He let out a few short, unbelievable yelps into the wind. This is absurd. The world has gone completely crazy. That god of war who used to make the ice field tremble. Did he fail his trip to Asia or something? Now he's actually become someone who, just for a few table scraps, can be bought off as a free bodyguard. My mom walked elegantly to the edge of the ice hole, tore off a piece of the most tender walrus meat, turned around, and looked at me. Her eyes showed that unspoken bond between a mother and son. Son, hurry and eat. This is the most tender piece. Thanks, Mom. What about mine? What's the rush? You'll get your share. Thanks, wifey. And that giant beast who had just done all the heavy lifting was huffing and puffing heavily. He turned his head and stared right at me. His eyes didn't have that previous greed and frenzy. Instead, they showed a kind of condescending pride. Looking at his smug face, it was as if he was silently challenging me. As long as you feed me, I am the toughest king of the ice field. How about that? I'm pretty awesome, aren't I? Wow, impressive. You're the absolute best, Dad. Of course I am. Back in the day, your old man roamed this ice field. And I was totally invincible. Yeah, sure you were. You're the toughest. Just keep bragging. You almost chipped a tooth on me just a minute ago. The rules of survival on this ice field seem to be completely rewritten from this day forward. After a hearty feast of walrus meat, our family of 3 finally enjoyed a brief moment of peace. But the dangers of this ice cap never just come from starvation and predators. There's also that sun beating down from above, looking like it's never going to set. The temperatures during this polar day are rising way faster than I ever imagined. The bitter consequences of a drastically shifting climate are rapidly showing up in this far northern land. Mom, don't you think it's getting hotter and hotter out here? Yeah, it really is. The temperatures this year are way higher than they used to be. The continuous sheets of ice that were once totally indestructible now look just like a pane of giant glass shattered by a massive hammer. There are bottomless cracks everywhere. Lying here on the rocks, I can clearly hear a deafening roar of glaciers collapsing in the distance. It sounds just like Mother Nature gasping in pure desperation. For an ordinary polar bear, the melting sea ice means losing their hunting grounds. But for a pure black-furred freak like me, this actually feels like a bizarre turning point. Whoa, why is this ice so fragile? I almost fell right through. Be careful, the ice is way too dangerous right now. As more and more black volcanic rocks get exposed, my black fur, which used to make me a walking target, is actually starting to blend right into the surroundings. Still, our top priority right now is to move. I quietly warned myself that the ice in this area could completely shatter and fall apart at any second. We need to find a solid land glacier to settle on, and fast. We have to swim across this channel and get to the land glacier on the other side. But man, isn't this channel way too wide? And the water is freezing. Yeah, tell me about it. Plus, there might even be killer whales in there. Well, we don't have a choice. We really don't have any other options. Alright, fine, then I'll lead the way. The ocean water had this deep, freezing, inky blue look to it. Chunks of broken ice, big and small, were floating all over the surface. Like a totally reliable, full-time worker bear, right after getting his fill. My dad naturally took on the duty of being our trailblazer. His massive body plunged right into the freezing ocean first, crashing through the waves ahead of us like a heavy-duty icebreaker. Stay close to me, and watch your step. We got it, you be careful too. Slow down a bit. Oh, don't worry about me. I've got this. You're completely safe with me. My mom followed right behind him, while I held on tightly to my mom's broad back, digging my claws desperately into the long fur around her neck. The first few hundred meters went pretty smoothly, just as we swam out to the middle of the channel, completely losing the safety of the shore. The vibe beneath the waves suddenly shifted. The water currents that were perfectly calm just a moment ago, strange undercurrents are starting to swirl. Something's not right. We're in danger. What's wrong, honey? Mom, I feel something in the water. What? Where is it? Right near us. I sharply sensed that. Mom and Dad, who was leading the way, both instantly tensed up. Less than 50 meters away, the water violently burst open. 2 massive dorsal fins, standing over 3 feet tall like sharp black blades, sliced straight through the surface, speeding right toward us. Orcus, Oh no, there are two of them. What do we do? They've got us surrounded. Don't panic, I'll hold them off. Honey, be careful. On land, a polar bear is the undisputed king, but in seawater dozens of meters deep, facing highly intelligent apex predators that hunt in packs. Even someone as strong as my dad has almost no chance of winning. Those two orcas had clearly marked us as their prey. Flanking us from the left and right, they carved two elegant arcs underwater, trying to cut off our escape and completely trap us. Panic began to spread across the water. Mom desperately paddled faster, but carrying me on her back, her movements were inevitably slowing down. I can't let them trap us. My mind was racing, frantically trying to come up with a plan. Haha, look at this easy prey serving themselves up. Grab the little one first. He's an easy catch. Great idea. No way. I can't let them get away with this. Orcas use sonar to navigate. I need to scramble their signal. When hunting in murky, freezing waters, they rely heavily on their echolocation. If I can just create enough chaotic noise and a messy scent trail, it might just throw them off. I caught a glimpse of the chunk of meat Mom was holding in her mouth. Leftover walrus meat we brought for the journey, and suddenly I had an idea. It was covered in frozen shards of ice. Perfect. Mom, give me that piece of walrus meat. What for? I have a plan. Hurry, give it to me. I quickly stood up on Mom's back and swung my claws. As these chunks of ice, reeking of blood, splashed into the sea, they didn't just release a distracting scent. The splashing created a messy ripple of chaotic sound waves. The two orcas charging straight at us hesitated for a split second. One of them let out a confused, low rumble. The interference is too strong. Hurry up and find them. They were forced to dive deeper, trying to lock onto us again. Now's our chance. I'll get to the shore first, and then smash them with ice. We can do this. Honey, please be careful. Oh no, they're getting away. Those brief few seconds were enough to completely turn the tide of the battle. Up ahead, my dad had already swum to the edge of the channel. His massive paws slammed fiercely onto a piece of floating ice as huge as a small mountain. His massive body, splashing water everywhere, violently hauled himself up onto it. If this were the past, this selfish tyrant of a bear probably would have run for his life without looking back. But now, completely hardwired into his brain, was the strict command to protect his long-term meal tickets at all costs. Standing on the towering ice floe, he turned around, looking down from above at the dark shadows, approaching once again beneath the surface. My dad let out a deafening roar that shook the entire strait. He didn't go into the water for close combat. Instead, he unleashed a terrifying display of destructive power. He took those two front paws, strong enough to shatter boulders, and smashed them fiercely against the edge of the ice floe, right onto those icicles that were already teetering from the heat. With hundreds of kilograms of sheer brute force, combined with his frantic pushing, the edge of the floating ice instantly collapsed. Tons of giant ice blocks, falling like heavy bombs, carrying an apocalyptic momentum, were brutally shoved right into the ocean by my dad. They smashed violently into the water right where those two killer whales were. Giant waves shot straight into the sky. Deafening crashes exploded underwater. Against this kind of massive physical bombardment, even the thick blubber of a killer whale wouldn't dare take a direct hit. Way to go. That was amazing. Hubby, this is terrifying. That polar bear is absolutely crazy. Let's get out of here. If we can't beat him, we can at least run away. Let's go. I am never coming back to this place. Faced with giant blocks of ice raining down like a storm, the two overlords of the deep sea finally decided it was best to retreat. After a frantic thrashing, they dove deep into the abyss, vanishing without a single trace. And those giant chunks of shattered ice that my dad had shoved into the ocean didn't just force those fierce enemies back. Instead, in this wide channel, they miraculously paved out a broken, stepping stone path. My mom's gaze focused, and she whispered to me, "Hold on to me tight. Don't let go." Seizing the opportunity, my mom stepped onto those still violently heaving chunks of ice. Leaping several times through the crushing, stormy waves, she finally, and safely, carried me up onto that stable, massive ice floe. The three of us, completely soaking wet, were panting heavily in the biting sea breeze. My dad shook the water droplets off his head, glanced back at me, and then naturally laid down, right in front of me and my mom. Like an insurmountable white fortress, he shielded us behind his back once again. "It's okay now, I'm right here." You're the best, honey. You must be exhausted. Not at all. For you too, it's absolutely worth it. We had just found our footing on a solid shoreline covered in black volcanic rock. Before we even had time to shake off the piercing cold water, a strong, pungent scent, filled with hostility and greed, drifted over on the chilling ocean wind. Just ahead, right at the boundary where the rugged black reefs met the melting snow, 3 massive white silhouettes appeared. They were 3 adult male polar bears. Oh no, there are other bears. 3 adult males. What do they want? What else? To steal a mate, steal our food, and take our territory. What do? We can't fight them off. Normally, male polar bears are incredibly solitary and fiercely territorial predators. They would never travel in a pack. But the relentless global warming has melted away the sea ice. With prey so scarce, starvation has broken their golden rule of solitude. These 3 scrawny, filthy vagabond bears have clearly been forced by their desperate struggle to survive, forming a fragile, yet deadly alliance of hunger. They spread out in a semicircle, creeping toward us without a sound. To these desperate thugs, our family of 3 is basically a free meal dropped straight from heaven. That female barely has any fight left in her, and that weird-looking cub looks nice and tender, a perfect snack. Plus, the big guy barely breathing over there is no threat at all. The vagabond bear's eyes burned with pure greed. Let's take the female for a mate. And this little black runt? He's the perfect appetizer to get our strength back. Watching the 3 massive males close in, my mom let out a desperate, heartbroken wail. She shielded me fiercely beneath her body, her paws frantically scraping against the black rocks. She knew exactly how wildly outmatched we were. Out here in the Arctic wasteland, 1 against 3 is basically a death sentence. Just a pathetic final struggle. Boss, let's quit wasting time. Get him, yeah, tear him apart. Come on then, I'm not scared of you. Meanwhile, my dad, standing right out front to protect us, was in terrible shape. After waking up this spring and dragging himself halfway across the ice sheet, to the brutal exhaustion of smashing through the glacier to fight off those killer whales, and freezing in the icy water for so long, this once unstoppable tyrant of the Arctic had completely hit his breaking point. His massive frame shivered uncontrollably in the biting wind, and he was so weak he was visibly hunched over. Huge puffs of white breath, reeking of blood, blasted from his mouth. The enemies could clearly see he was running on fumes. The alpha vagabond in the middle, the biggest of the 3, let out a mocking growl and picked up the pace. To him, this former king was nothing more than a giant, walking pile of meat. But they severely underestimated the old bear's willpower. If this were half a year ago, when my dad only cared about finding a mate, running into a hopeless, outnumbered fight like this, he probably would have just used his massive size to bust through and save his own skin. But after his entire mindset was rewired by being fed by the black stone, he had made up his mind. I have to protect the meal ticket and my mate behind me. They are my only hope of surviving this. Just as the 3 vagabond bears were about to charge, my dad suddenly stood up tall. His back, hunched from sheer exhaustion, suddenly heaved, unleashing a furious roar that shook the entire coast. This bellow didn't have the piercing power of his prime, but it carried a desperate, do-or-die resolve. Honey, what do we do? Don't panic, I've got you. I'll die before I let them lay a claw on you too. This massive beast, once driven only by his primal instincts, now revealed the true, savage blood of a king. No stepping back, no dodging. My dad met the charge of those 3 rogue bears head on, like a heavy armored tank that had lost its brakes and gone completely berserk. He slammed right into them. The sickening thud of colliding flesh echoed through the black jagged rocks. My dad used his massive chest to forcefully absorb the head-on impact of the rogue bear leader. The sheer force pushed him back half a step, but he wedged his huge paws deep into the cracks of the rocks and managed to hold his ground. Instantly, he swung that same right paw that had crushed countless blocks of solid ice. With a howling gust of wind, he smashed it fiercely into the shoulder of a second bear trying to flank him. The rogue bear let out a heavy grunt, stumbling wildly from the blow, almost tumbling right into the freezing sea. But 2 fists are no match for 4 paws, let alone 3 starving, crazed beasts. The third bear seized the opening and lunged, its massive weight crashing down hard on my dad's blind side. My mom frantically tried to rush in and help, but Dad barked out a harsh roar to push her back. Stay back, It's too dangerous, but honey, I'm fine. I can handle this, just protect our boy. There, in that narrow pass, his strength was draining away by the second. Every swing of his paw was slower and heavier than the last. Horrifying gashes and deep bruises began to cover his battered body. The rogue bears were taking damage too, but they had the numbers. And they were taking turns to wear him down. I hid behind my mom's legs, watching my dad's violently heaving chest, and his hind legs, shaking uncontrollably from total exhaustion. A wave of absolute, terrifying panic washed over me. We couldn't just keep doing this. In a few minutes at most, when my dad completely gives out and collapses, it would be the end of the line for all three of us. I whipped my head around and scanned the terrain. Because of the warming climate, the snow along this coast had worn dangerously thin. Massive stretches of black volcanic rock were glaringly exposed under the endless midnight sun, forming a jagged, maze-like forest of black stone. And just a short distance away was a massive, sheer cliff, dropping tens of meters into a bed of razor-sharp sea ice. A crazy, reckless plan suddenly flashed into my mind. That's it, there's a cliff right there. If I use my black fur to blend into the shadows, I can lure them straight to the edge, set a trap, and send them plunging right over. Yeah, that's exactly what I'll do. I took a deep, shaky breath of the biting Arctic wind, knowing full well I couldn't just be a useless cheerleader anymore. While my mom was anxiously growling at the front, I pressed myself against the rough ground, like a thick drop of ink. I silently slipped out of her protective circle, and dived straight into the black volcanic rock forest behind us. Thank goodness my black fur blends right in with the rocks. They didn't spot me. I gotta move faster. My dad can't hold on much longer. Son, where did you go? Our son is missing. Up until this very moment, I never truly understood what it meant to have the perfect camouflage. I darted quickly along the rock wall. My pitch black fur blended perfectly with the heavy shadows cast by the rocks. Even the most sharp-sighted predator would never be able to make out my silhouette in these dark blind spots. I quickly circled around to the edge of the cliff, right behind the battlefield. The terrain here was treacherous. Below was a drop of over 40 feet, a deep abyss filled with sharp, hidden rocks. Right at the edge of the cliff, there was a smooth, downward-sloping slab of rock. Using my claws, I quickly scooped up a handful of freshly melted ice water from a nearby puddle. I splashed it evenly across the rock slab. The Arctic wind howled past like a knife, and within seconds, that thin layer of water froze into a sheet of black ice, almost invisible to the naked eye. The trap was set. Now, I just need to lure them over. As long as I make a sound, they'll definitely come. I really hope this works. Just hold on a little longer, Dad. I cleared my throat and let out an arrogant, provocative hiss. The sound wasn't loud, but carried by the tailwind, it drifted right into the ears of those three rogue bears. The rogue bear leader, who was just about to deliver the final blow to my dad, suddenly stopped in his tracks. He turned his heavily scarred head and narrowed his eyes toward the cliff. As far as he could tell, that pitch-black little snack that had been hiding behind its mother had actually run out of its safe zone. And to make it even better, it was trapped in an easy-to-catch dead end. Greed instantly overpowered his reason. The leader let out a low growl, signaling his two buddies to keep pinning my dad down, while he turned around. With heavy footsteps, he aggressively closed in on my position. You two keep your eyes on this old bear. I'm gonna go grab that little black one. You got it, boss. Heh. Hey there, little black bear. You've got nowhere to run. Once I get my paws on you, I'm gonna tear you to shreds. Come and get me if you can. He opened his massive jaws, thinking that all he had to do was walk across that rock slab, and he could easily swallow a tiny, dark little snack like me right down his belly. But the very moment his 900-pound body fully stepped onto the edge of the cliff, right onto that rock slab, his massive weight combined with the extremely slippery black ice caused the rogue bear leader to instantly lose all traction under his paws. His gigantic body violently slipped, and he completely lost his balance. Panic-stricken, he flailed his limbs wildly at the edge of the cliff. Now's my chance. I burst out from the dark shadows. Using the rock to launch myself, I leapt into the air, and perfectly recreated my dad's signature move in mid-flight. Twist the waist, drop the shoulders, engage the core, channel the power to the right paw, and take that. I swung my paw, landing a solid smack right on the leader of the stray bears. Right on his terrified, flared-up nose. You see, for a polar bear, the nose is packed with nerve endings. It is the absolute most fragile and sensitive spot on their body. Even though my tiny bit of strength was practically nothing compared to his. This one precise critical hit was the straw that broke the camel's back. The agonizing jolt of pain made him let out a twisted, miserable howl. He was already losing his balance, and now, there was no saving it. He stumbled off the edge of the cliff, tracing a clumsy arc in the air, and plummeted straight down into the abyss like a battered old white sack. A few seconds later, echoing up from the bottom of the cliff came a dull thud, which was quickly swallowed by the howling ocean winds. Up on the cliff, the other two stray bears were completely stunned by this sudden twist. They just could not process how their big, invincible boss could just somehow trip over the edge of a cliff and get smacked down into the abyss by a tiny black cub. Meanwhile, my dad was standing off in the distance, his walnut-sized eyes wide open. He was panting heavily, staring at me in dead silence. In that very moment, I could practically hear the gears turning. Inside his wonderfully simple head, a massive brainstorm was going off. This little dark furball actually knows how to use the terrain to set a trap. He just risked his life running out here to distract the enemy and protect my wife. Wait a minute, that jumping smack just now. The way he twisted his waist to build up power. That is exactly like the signature move I used to rule the ice fields back in the day. All the clues finally clicked together in my dad's sluggish brain, completing the ultimate puzzle. That is my special move. How could he possibly know that? Even if he is black as a lump of coal, that is my blood. If he was only protecting us before to keep around a long-term meal ticket who could dig meat out of the ice cracks, well, now. That deep, genetic family bond erupted like a massive volcano. It completely exploded out of him. This is absolutely my own flesh and blood. I do not care if he is as black as coal, that is my boy. My dad suddenly threw his head back and let out a thunderous roar that went way beyond his absolute prime. It was the pure fury of a king protecting his cub. He was surging with a miraculous second wind. His eyes were blood red, burning with a savage, unstoppable thirst for battle, ready to destroy absolutely anything in his path. Like a heavy battle tank fueled back to the max, he turned and charged right at the two stray bears who were still frozen in absolute shock. Seeing this half-dead behemoth suddenly go completely berserk like he was back at full health, combined with the absolute trauma of watching their boss randomly fall off a cliff. Those two stray bears completely broke down. They did not even have a shred of courage left to fight. They tucked their tails and scrambled away, tumbling and sprinting deep into the distant ice fields. And just like that, the danger was gone. My dad, looking like an utterly exhausted mountain, collapsed onto the black rocks. But he did not close his eyes to rest just yet. He struggled to lift his heavy, massive head, looking at me with a gaze that was incredibly tender, and even a little proud, just quietly watching me. It's finally over. Are you okay, honey? How are you holding up? I'm fine, just a little tired. Son, you were amazing. The howling sea breeze swept away the lingering scent at the edge of the cliff. Those two defeated rogue bears never showed up again. After that brutal defensive battle, my dad collapsed on the black rocks, sleeping for 3 whole days and nights. Son, your dad has been asleep for 3 days now. Do you think he'll be alright? Don't worry, Mom, he's just exhausted. He'll be perfectly fine once he wakes up. I'm gonna go check the beach for some food. My mom stayed right by his side, never leaving for a second, while I took on the job of keeping our whole family fed. Luckily, after the tide went out, the shoreline was left with plenty of stranded fish, shrimp, and kelp. It barely got us through the hardest part of his recovery. When my dad was finally able to stand up again, the 3 of us followed the coastline and found a place that was like a hidden paradise. A deep water fjord, surrounded by massive black volcanic rocks. If this were a dozen years ago, this whole area would have been covered by thick glaciers all year round. I looked at the landscape and thought to myself, for a normal polar bear, this kind of environment is an absolute disaster. Melting glaciers mean they've lost the natural platforms they used to hide and hunt. Just think about it, a massive, 3-meter-long beast, covered in pure white fur, trying to lay low on pitch-black volcanic rocks, waiting to ambush its prey. Seals would be able to spot this starving white grim reaper from miles away. Seriously, seals would spot these starving white reapers from miles away, and then just casually slide into the water and get away. Sigh. Hunting is just getting harder and harder these days. All this white fur stands out way too much against these black rocks. Yeah, the seals can see us coming from a mile away. Don't worry about it, I'll take care of the hunting from now on. Are you sure you can do it? But this black, hopeless wasteland that makes white bears despair, for me? It was the ultimate throne, gifted by nature. As I grew bigger and bigger, my pitch black fur became even thicker and glossier. When I lay quietly on the black basalt, I didn't even have to try and hide. My entire body blended perfectly into the shadows of the rocks. One afternoon, in the shallows of the fjord, a group of lazy ringed seals dragged themselves up. My mom instinctively looked for cover to sneak around, but I gently nudged her back with my head. I just strolled right down to the beach, out in the open. To those seals, I just looked like a slow-moving black rock. It wasn't until I got within 2 meters of them that a chubby little seal finally realized something was wrong. Lifting its head in confusion. But it was way too late. With strength far beyond any normal cub my age, I fiercely pounced forward and swiftly put it out of its misery. The entire hunt was so ridiculously easy. It was just like grabbing a piece of bacon from our own pantry. My mom, witnessing this scene, had eyes full of absolute shock and immense pride. She looked at me, a soft, tender whisper escaping her throat. "Oh, my sweet boy, you've grown up." She finally understood. In this new era of melting glaciers, this little black cub she had given birth to, the one they used to call a freak, had actually earned Mother Nature's ultimate survival pass. And as for our families, former tyrant of the ice, my old man, well, right now he was putting on a masterclass in letting go of worldly desires. And just enjoying his golden years. You see, that bloody one on 3 battle had completely drained his body's reserves. His back, which used to be as massive as a mountain, was now a little hunched over, and his footsteps no longer carried that terrifying, heavy presence. The era of the great polar tyrant had officially come to an end for him. I'm getting old, so old. It's you youngsters' world now. Oh, don't say that. You're still incredibly tough. Tough? Bah, I can't even catch a decent meal anymore. But honestly, he didn't feel depressed or bitter at all. Once this stubborn, single-minded old bear finally accepted that I wasn't just a genius hunter, but his actual, genuine flesh and blood. He shamelessly and proudly embraced his retirement, fully ready to live off his kid. Every day, right when the midnight sun was at its warmest, my old man would waddle over, slowly strolling into the fjord, heading straight for the flattest, sunniest black boulder. He'd rub his massive back against the rock a few times, wiggling around to find the perfect angle. Then just flop down with all 4 paws in the air, letting out a long, satisfied sigh. Ah, so comfy. Just look at our boy. He's so capable. Oh, absolutely. Well, look whose son he is. Ha, you really love singing your own praises, don't you? Hey, I'm just stating the facts. Alright, fine. We'll say it's all you're doing. We can finally rest easy. No more running and hiding for our lives. Our sweet boy has grown up. I will protect this wasteland now. Ah, this is nice. Our family, together forever. The drastic climate shifts were still ongoing. Outside, the world was descending into madness, tearing itself apart with starvation and death. But here, inside our black volcanic fjord, we maintained an eerie yet incredibly warm peace. The long polar day finally ended, with a brutal blizzard that raged on for half a month. The long, cruel, and suffocating polar night had once again fallen over this wasteland at the edge of the world. The polar night is here. Yeah, it is. It's that awful, unbearable time of the year again. Bah, what's there to be afraid of? We have our boy, he's a phenomenal hunter. There's no way we're going hungry. Don't you worry, I'm right here. I promise I won't let you guys starve. The sun sank entirely below the horizon. In its place came 6 full months of endless, pitch-black darkness, and a bone-chilling cold as the temperature plummeted to -40 degrees. In previous years, this would mark the official start of the polar bear's most grueling winter trial. But the vibe in our fjord this year was completely different, thanks to a whole warm season of absolutely massive, high-calorie feasts and a totally stress-free, lazy environment. My body size had absolutely skyrocketed. Son, you're growing up so fast. You bet. Of course my boy grows fast, hee. Now I can protect you guys even better. That's my good boy. From a tiny black furball weighing less than 11 pounds, I've now bulked up into a 400 kilogram solid black beast. Standing on the frozen sea, I looked down at my reflection. My pitch-black fur, under the faint starlight, shimmered with a dark, eerie gloss. My limbs were as thick as tree trunks, giving off a chilling, terrifying presence. In this pitch-black polar night, my solid black armor is the ultimate cheat code given by Mother Nature. I'm a real, full-grown bear now. In this endless night, I am invincible. Son, you're even bulkier than me now. I can hardly even recognize you anymore. Polar bears still catch a faint glimmer of light in the dark. But I am the shadow itself, melting right into the night. The funny thing is, that pack of Arctic foxes up on the ice ridge, the ones who used to mock our survival and wait to feast on our corpses, have totally switched sides now. Their pack leader, who still has that faint scar on his nose from when I pelted him with a stinky snowball. Boss, we're your loyal followers from now on. Oh, and why is that? Because you're so badass. We know we'll never go hungry with you. Yeah, please let us join you. We'll be your lookouts. He actually brought his entire family, and willingly set up camp right outside our fjord. They aren't just cold bystanders anymore. They've gladly become our early warning system and little spies around the territory. If there's even the slightest rustle within miles, they'll let out short barks to report right back to me. In return, every time I finish a hunt, the scraps I leave behind are more than enough for them, making this harsh winter their most comfortable one yet. Alright, you guys can stay, but you better keep a sharp lookout. No slacking off. Don't worry, boss. We absolutely won't slack off. We're on it. Thank you, boss. Here, on the freezing tundra, a brand new ecological order is quietly building up, right around our family. Later that night, a breathtaking aurora lit up the sky. Ribbons of deep green and vibrant purple wove together, like a giant, delicate veil, dancing slowly across the stars, casting an eerie, yet sacred glow over the dark ice. Wow, the aurora is so beautiful. It really is. So pretty. What's so special about it? I've been staring at this my whole life. Oh, what do you know? It's so romantic. Peeved. Can romance fill your belly? Belly full, I climbed up onto a massive black rock at the very top of the fjord, and quietly looked down at the ice below. Bathed in the aurora's light, I watched my dad waddling around, keeping himself busy on some fresh, thin ice right at the edge of the bay. With that massive right paw, the same one that used to crush walrus skulls and swat away countless rivals, he was now clumsily, almost carefully, scratching out a little hole in the ice. What's Dad up to? He's trying to fish. Heave ho. Almost got it. My mom was lying quietly in a snowbank not too far away, watching him with such soft eyes. After digging for ages, gotcha, he scooped out a tiny polar cod, barely the size of his paw. He was as thrilled as a little kid with a brand new toy. Shaking the freezing water off his claws, he picked up that tiny fish, which wasn't even enough for a single bite, and trotted happily over to my mom. Brought you a little treat. Aren't I amazing? At his age, he was still acting like a giant cub. Watching this once terrifying polar tyrant turn into nothing more than a retired old softy catching tiny fish for his wife, I couldn't help but smile in the dark. Black Rock Island used to be our little miracle, but I forgot. Nature's gifts always come with a hidden price tag. The warmth that kept us alive through the endless polar night was actually the breath of a monster sleeping beneath us. I really wish those peaceful days could last forever. But, I just had this gut feeling that something terrible was coming. I hoped I was just being paranoid. The first warning sign came from the ocean. I was taking my usual walk near the shallows that day, when I noticed the crystal clear waters of the fjord had turned murky and yellowish. The surface was entirely covered in a thick layer of floating white fish bellies. They were the local cold water fish, but they hadn't been killed by predators. They had been boiled alive, or maybe suffocated by that toxic, overpowering, rotten egg smell of sulfur rising from the water. Not a single bite mark on them. Boiled alive. The air was turning toxic. What the hell is happening? I stepped into the water, and it was actually hot. The ocean itself was mutating. Mom was the first to show signs of panic. She stopped going to the hot springs to groom her fur, and spent all day pacing nervously back and forth across the black rocks, her nostrils flaring wildly. That primal, animal instinct of danger made her utterly reject this place we used to call paradise. Sweetie, something's wrong here. I feel really uneasy. I feel it too, Mom. The water is heating up, and it reeks of sulfur. Sulfur? How come I didn't smell that? But Dad, he was doing even worse. His lungs were already struggling, and this toxic, sulfur-choked air made them dangerously weak. He started coughing violently all day along. His heavy, ragged wheezing echoed through the valley. That relaxed, peaceful look in his eyes was completely gone, replaced by pure, primal terror of the unknown. Cough, cough, cough. Why is the air so thick? Honey, are you alright? I'm fine. Just a little cough. Dad, we need to get out of here right now. Black Rock Island is turning into a death trap. I muttered to myself. We have to leave. We can't waste another second. I stood at the very top of the highest black reef, staring out at the distant volcano, now glowing with a sickly red light. I knew exactly what it meant. The geothermal balance here has completely collapsed. If we don't leave right now, we're either going to choke to death on the toxic gas spewing from underground, or get boiled alive in the scalding ocean. But the problem is, the water around us is already churning from the geothermal heat. It's turned into a massive, toxic soup of boiling water. Just by swimming, there's no way we can make it out of this dead zone. Just as our family of 3 was about to lose all hope, deep within the polar fog, a shadow appeared. It wasn't a ship, and it wasn't an island. It was a massive, towering iceberg. Look, what is that? It's an iceberg. It's absolutely huge. Thank God, we're saved. Are you serious? It had to be several square miles across, riding a freak deep-sea cold current. It moved like a sluggish giant, slowly plowing through the boiling, murky water at the mouth of the fjord, until it loomed right in front of us. At that moment, every surviving creature on the island went absolutely crazy. The seals that hadn't escaped yet were scrambling onto the ice for dear life. Even the pack of Arctic foxes that had been prowling the fjord forgot all about their natural predators. They all dove into the freezing water like desperate, drenched dogs, paddling frantically to reach that white arc. I have to survive. It's so cold, bone-chilling cold. In the face of this disaster, all we could do was fight for our lives. I can't stop. Stopping means death. That's our only way out. No matter how small we are, we have to fight the fury of nature. Boss, we gotta go. If we don't leave now, we're done for. Alright, let's move. Honey, hurry up. I'm coming. Everyone, stay right behind me. The instinct to survive took over everything else. I looked back at our home, already billowing with black smoke, then back at the floating iceberg. I lowered my head and nudged my dad, who could barely stand. Then, I took the plunge into the chaotic mix of freezing and boiling water, swimming straight for that flash of life-saving white. My mom was right on my tail. Right behind us, Black Rock Island, the place that once saved our lives, was slowly being swallowed by the crimson, toxic fog. Hang in there, honey. Keep going. Phew, I'm okay. We're almost there. Just hold on a little longer. We're so close. Those few hundred meters, out of my 2 years living at the pole, were the longest, most terrifying stretch of water I had ever swum. The closer we got to the deep water, the more violently the geothermal heat surged from below. The ocean didn't even feel like water anymore. It felt like a pot of thick, simmering stew. My dad was in terrible shape. His body couldn't cool down, and he had breathed in way too much toxic gas. His paddling was getting weaker and clumsier by the second. His massive head kept dropping, almost slipping under the murky waves completely. I can't hold on. Just leave me. Save yourselves. I am never leaving you behind. Just hold on. We're going to survive this together. As long as I'm still breathing, I will never let you drown. I slowed my pace and swam right up next to my dad. Using my own heavy head, I bumped against his hind legs and backside, over and over, to give him just a tiny bit of upward push. You have to hold on. We're almost at the iceberg. Our family has to stay together. Honey, you have to be okay. We still have to live through this together. All around us, a silent picture of desperate escape unfolded. A few soaked Arctic foxes were clinging for dear life to floating chunks of shattered ice. They let the waves batter them dizzy, and even though the ice was rapidly melting in the warm water, they absolutely refused to let go. Down below, swarms of ringed seals darted like arrows, sprinting toward that giant white arc. They didn't even care about the polar bears they were usually so terrified of. Because staying put meant being boiled alive. Help, I can't hold on much longer. Hang in there, we're almost there. Faster, please go faster. I don't want to be boiled alive. Nature is just so brutal. But the true cruelty of nature is that it never takes sides. In this catastrophic melting pot, the apex predator of the poles is no different from a helpless ant. When my front paws finally touched the hard, blue ice beneath that giant iceberg, I had pretty much spent my last ounce of strength. My sharp black claws dug deep into the ice. I jerked my upper body forward, and with a heavy splash of water, I dragged myself onto this flat-topped iceberg. The biting polar wind instantly swept over my entire body. This freezing temperature that would normally kill someone now felt like the perfect painkiller. It took my pounding nerves, swollen from the heat and lack of oxygen, and instantly snapped them awake. I turned around and, together with my mom, we half dragged, half pulled my dad, who had almost completely lost consciousness, right onto the ice. My dad's massive body crashed against the solid surface. He lay there sprawled out, without even the strength to roll over. White foam and seawater kept pouring from his mouth. Finally, we made it up. Honey, are you okay? I'm okay. Just a little tired. Thank goodness you're okay. I just need to rest a bit. His chest was heaving violently. The white breaths he puffed out instantly turned to icy mist in the cold wind. Don't be scared. We're safe for now. Let's just hope this place can actually shelter us. Wait, something's not right. There's something in the shadows. This ark isn't safe at all. It's unnervingly quiet. The real danger is hiding right here on this iceberg. Oh no, there are other polar bears on this iceberg, and they look absolutely starved. Son, what's wrong? Mom, be careful. There are other bears on this iceberg. Wait, there are other bears? The edge of the iceberg was densely packed with refugee seals that had also fled here. They were panting weakly, completely defenseless, but deeper inside the swirling blizzard, several white, ghostly silhouettes were slowly prowling about. Those were 7 or 8 stray polar bears, drifting over from other melting waters. Every single one of them was starved to the bone, the sharp outlines of their spines clearly visible beneath their fur. On this isolated island, nature had forcibly trapped a pack of starving, crazed apex predators right alongside their absolute favorite prey. But when facing such intense starvation, hunting down agile seals would burn way too much energy. For these stray bears who were already at the end of their ropes, there was another kind of meal that was far more tempting and much easier to grab. And that was their very own kind. The ones who had just dragged themselves ashore, so utterly drained they couldn't even stand up. They're eyeing my dad. No way. I can't let them hurt my dad. Son, they're coming over. Don't be afraid. I've got you, son. That greedy, predatory scent hanging in the air, locking onto my mom and dad, was getting overwhelmingly strong. 3 of the most massive stray bears had already dropped their bodies low. They didn't roar. Instead, like incredibly patient assassins, they took silent steps, slowly closing in on us from 3 different directions. I can't collapse. I still need to protect them. His body just couldn't hold up anymore, completely unable to support her weight. Only managing to let out a helpless, hoarse growl. Haha, let's see where you can run to now. Just be good little meals and let us eat you. That way, you'll suffer a whole lot less. Stay back. If you dare touch my parents, you're dead. I took a heavy step forward, stepping onto the crunching, solid ice, and walked head-on toward the 3 approaching stray bears. I stopped less than 10 meters away from them. I took a deep breath, and slowly stood straight up. I just coldly glared down straight ahead. The 3 starving, crazed bears completely froze in their tracks. In their eyes, this pure black monster standing right in front of them was not only a full size larger than they had been in their absolute prime, but was also packed solid with muscle, showing 0 signs of weakness. Throwing their lives away just for a single bite of meat was a completely losing deal. The stray bear on the far left was the first to make a choice. It slowly lowered its head, letting out a faint, defeated whimper from its throat. Then it turned around, dragging its heavy footsteps, and retreated back into the howling blizzard. The other 2 stray bears, after a brief, tense standoff, silently backed away toward the other end of the iceberg. I dropped back down onto all 4s and retreated to my mom and dad's side. I lay down like a massive black rock, using my broad back to shield them from the bone-chilling wind blowing off the ocean. It's okay now. They're gone. Thank you, my good son. Mom, Dad, you 2 get some rest. I'll keep watch. Thank you so much, son. The iceberg began to move, pushed by the deep ocean currents. I lay on an ice ridge at the very top of the iceberg. The wind blowing in my face was no longer that scorching hot air that smelled like rotten eggs, but rather the freezing air of the deep polar winter. I turned my head, taking one last look at Black Rock Island, the place we had thought of as our retirement home. The way nature destroys an ecosystem is often much more silent. Under the faint glow of the aurora, I saw deep within Black Rock Island a terrifying dark red glow light up. The underground lava had finally broken through the Earth's crust. Like a massive, glowing spider web, it spread silently over the pitch-black basalt. It slowly flowed over. That warm reef my dad used to love lying on, flowed over the hot spring where my mom used to groom her fur, erasing and swallowing up every trace of the life we left behind there, finally turning into rising, pungent white smoke. Goodbye, Black Rock Island. Thank you for giving us a home. Son, what are you looking at? Nothing, Mom. Our home is gone. The iceberg arc continued drifting toward the vast depths of the Arctic Ocean. The ocean wind grew even more piercing, mixed with heavy, feather-like snow, drifting down endlessly onto this floating, isolated island of ice. I looked down and glanced at the different lives on the iceberg. The Arctic foxes that escape with us, cleverly curled up deep inside ice crevices and snow pits, wrapping their fluffy tails around their noses and mouths to reduce their heat loss as much as possible. Everyone, squeeze in closer. It's warmer this way. Got it, boss. I hope this snow stops soon. Don't worry, with the boss here, we'll be fine. These little guys were actually pretty smart. At the edge of the iceberg, the seals were resting in groups of 2s and 3s. Although they still kept their guard up, they didn't go into the water, because they instinctively knew that on this limited piece of floating ice, that giant black bear radiating a terrifying presence had become their shield against the other polar bears. And those dozen or so wandering polar bears, although still starving, with the hunger for food flashing in their eyes, under my silent intimidation earlier, they desperately suppressed their instinct to hunt and fight each other. With that big black bear around, we're safe. Yeah, those polar bears won't dare come over. I hope we can stay safe forever. Just bear with it, we can't beat that black bear. They scattered on the other side of the iceberg, as far away from me as possible, laying down against the wind and snow, letting the drifting snow cover them, entering an energy-saving state almost like hibernation. On this ice block of a few square kilometers, my dad and my mom were quietly snuggled up against my massive black body. My dad's breathing finally went from that broken, wheezing sound to something steady and deep. He rested his massive white head, covered in bits of ice, leaning tightly against my hind legs. He's just an old bear, left behind by a bygone era. He doesn't know a single thing about global warming or tectonic shifts. In his mind, as long as he stays close to this radiating giant black mountain of endless heat, we will always find a way to survive. We'll always be able to sleep peacefully. Son, honey, I'll protect you both. Look at your dad, protecting us even in his dreams. Yeah, it's my turn to protect you guys now. Mom rested her chin gently on Dad's neck, gazing calmly into the raging blizzard ahead. That was the quiet strength of a mother polar bear, after weathering a lifetime of storms. Such unique, unshakable resilience. I pulled my gaze away, and looked straight ahead to where our iceberg was sailing. Out there is endless darkness, the unfathomable depths of the Arctic Ocean. It's also the dawn of a new era, defined by extreme weather and endless unknowns. Son, where do we go next? I don't know, but no matter where we go, our family stays together. Yeah, together. As long as we're together, there's nothing to be afraid of. My memories of being human in a past life, the concrete jungles, the 9-to-5 daily grind, the fleeting hype and endless anxiety of the internet. All of it was completely blown away by the howling polar wind. I stopped wondering which human civilization one used to belong to. I am a black bear, and I am the king of the Arctic, chosen by this very era. The biting polar wind echoed like a desolate elegy between the glaciers and the crashing waves. It felt like a final farewell to the ancient ice fields, once ruled entirely by white. Facing the storm head-on, I slowly laid myself down, resting right on the peak of this massive iceberg. The snowflakes of the polar night fell silently, dusting my pure black fur with a mottled, ghostly white. From a distance, I probably looked just like any ordinary polar bear, blending perfectly into this frozen world. This giant ark, carrying the very last pulse of life in the Arctic, carrying the old, the weak, and the remnants of a dying world.